I'm on. Hi, welcome to Good Morning Thailand. It is Wednesday, the middle of the week, and it's the day we welcome Abel from Find Your Voice Asia. Thanks, Abel.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Thailand, and hi, Tim.
And thank you very mumuch to Jay for hosting the program yesterday. He's going to be back in the hot seat on Friday after he recovers. Just before we start, you probably saw on our thumbnail, if you've just tuned in and you're watching live, we've sort of expanded what we're doing here at the Tiger. I can take that up because I'm only using one side. This is a picture of a bar. We think it might be in...
You said Pattaya, maybe?
Pattaya. I'm thinking it's in Pattaya. And yes, it's the Tiger Bar. So we've sort of expanded what we're doing here at the business. And unfortunately, we've been a little bit bereft of getting staff. Now, we asked you if you'd like to work at the Tiger Bar. You said no. Very kindly, however, Jay...
I think Jay wants to, yeah.
Jay has
wants to pole dance.
He's offered to be a bar boy and pole dance for us. So we look forward to posting some photos of that in the next couple of days. So if anybody actually knows where that Tiger Bar is, we'd like to know the address. And so thank you to whoever sent that in.
It's similar colours too, yellow.
Yeah, great little photo.
Yeah, exactly.
There it is.
Expansion. Desperate times, desperate measures.
To some more serious news and COVID cases in Thailand today. 9,317 new infections, 87 deaths, which is almost the highest number we've had to report on one day. 129 of those cases from Thai prisons. So that's the bad news there. Quick question from Gordon Duncan, who said, Tim, why in Bangkok Post the headline reads, freight containers sought as morgue space runs out? And there are only, he says only, 80 to 90 cases a day in the whole of Thailand. It's 80 to 90 deaths. Something we do not know. Well, Gordon, you're probably going to have to ask somebody at the Bangkok Post. They published that particular headline. I think obviously they are expecting a higher number of deaths at some stage with the infections sort of rising at the moment. That probably means in another month or so it'll transfer into some sad deaths.
Yeah, let's hope that's not the case, but I think they have to try their best to prepare.
Now, the other situation, of course, is the Phuket Sandbox is in operation, and we're going to have somebody from the Samui, not the Sandbox, but it's called Samui Plus in just a moment. But for a bit of a Sandbox update, total arrivals since July the 1st is now 5,100. A source at the airport has told us that about 50 to 60% of these people are actually tourists. The others are just general travellers getting back into Thailand for whatever reason, and of course Thai repatriates. So that's a good number. 396 people arrived on international flights on 3 flights yesterday. Now, we actually got a rumour sent to us also yesterday, Abel, that said that Thai Airways was looking at cancelling their Copenhagen to Phuket flight. That's only a rumour. We haven't been able to substantiate it. I jumped onto the Thai Airways website today, and indeed the Copenhagen to Phuket flights are still available for booking through August. So
I heard from another news source that they actually did cancel, and then they got a lot of bombardment online by a lot of people, and then they reopened the flights.
Okay, so
that could be a case.
We'll keep you up to date on that as it emerges. But for now, we're heading over to Samui, Abel, and we're speaking to Kun Chat, and Kun Chat is from Bliss Events Thailand. Thanks for joining us, Chat.
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะคุณทีม
Sawadee Cup, and good morning to you. So you're in the hot seat there in Samui. You're reopening to international travellers from tomorrow. Can you tell us a bit of the sense of excitement there?
Yes, we are getting ready for that, and I'm glad that many organizations from hotels, from the government units, restaurants, tourism, everyone is helping each other to make sure that we are ready to welcome our first guest tomorrow. And we have a good side because everyone is working hard, especially the tourism organizations, to help this with the people, with the trainers. Everyone is helping each other a lot to bring this back.
It's a very exciting time, Abel.
How many people are you expecting to arrive tomorrow to Samui?
Based on the information I received, we are expecting about 12 tourists tomorrow, and
12?
only 12, 1, 2.
Oh, okay.
It's the first day, Abel.
Okay, okay.
First day
Oh, it's a lot
tomorrow.
less than I expected, I guess.
Yeah, it's the first day tomorrow, and we are expecting about 2,000 in the next 30 days. So
Okay.
it look pretty good actually
Right.
for what we have been trying so much. Okay.
Yeah, of course. From nothing to 12 to, expecting 2,000, right? I mean, you cannot
Exactly.
expect too much, but I think everybody needs time to transition to take care of the tourists as well.
I believe, Chat, that they only opened up the registration for the certificate of entry on Monday. So to actually have 12
Oh,
people
wow.
arriving tomorrow,
Okay.
I think you've done pretty well. And yes, the TAT are saying that there could be up to 2,000 travellers heading to Samui, which is 2,000 extra than they've had over the past 12 months.
Yeah.
So, Chat, you've got a big opening celebration tomorrow. Tell us about that.
That's right. So because I'm the events organizer who are living in Koh Samui, and I'm glad that I got this chance from the TAT to be a part of the press release events tomorrow at the Scene Beach Club in Chueng. So the events will be about talking about the rule and regulation to welcome the guests. There will be about 50 to 80 people joining this ceremony. There will be Ministry of Tourism and Sport, the Governor of Surat Thani Province, the Governor of, hang on a second, let me.
Yeah, we want the entire guest list. All the proper titles.
The Governor of TAT from Bangkok also join us.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's very nice of the governor of the TAT to join you. He won't talk to us, so well done to you for getting him to turn up to your event.
We're very well connected, You can talk through P-Chat,
Yeah, maybe Chat will get you to organise something for us. You got a question there
Yes,
for
I
Kun
have a
Chat.
question from one of our members, Jay. I'm not sure if I can say Credier. Can you do a comparison of the pros and cons of Phuket versus Samui? I'm traveling in October. Shout out to Abel. Okay, we forget it. Thank you, Jay. So anybody want to
Well, this is
take a jab on
interesting
that?
because the Samui Plus is sort of based on the Phuket Sandbox.
Yes.
And it's using much the same criteria, but you might like to go through the actual process of arriving in Bangkok and then what happens when you arrive in Samui, Kun Chat. If you could just go through the details for the first couple of weeks for your travellers.
Yeah. So when you arrive in Bangkok, you will do the transit flights. And then when you arrive to Samui on the first day, you are required to stay in the hotel, and we will do the PCR test. And on the first day, you are only required to stay inside the room, right? And then second day and day 3, you will be allowed to use the hotel facility in your respective hotel, okay? And you will be allowed to travel or to leave the hotel or to go outside only on day number 4 until day number 7.
Okay.
If you choose to go with the tour or seal route, that means this route is the program that allows certain area of Koh Samui. And then
Can I ask you, just before you sort of move on there, Kun Chat, and we'll have a talk about what happens after the 7 days, but at the moment, travelling around Samui, the video we've been watching, it looks fairly quiet there. A lot of shops closed. What is going to be open?
It's actually now, we have a lot of new happenings in Samui. We have a new restaurants, we have new cafe, we have a lot of tour operators that be back to operate. They're selling their yacht. A lot of like jet ski are start operating. So I
Oh,
believe
yay, the jet skis.
so you have activities to do in Koh Samui. Is actually, I know that it feels sad. The major area of Chueng, most of the nightclubs, most of the bar are still being closed. But that is something as per the restriction of Thailand government. But the other necessary or the basic facilities like the restaurant, cafes, recreation facilities, yacht tour operators, they are ready to welcome the guests.
And what happens after 7 days?
After the 7 days, you are able to continue your travel to other part of Koh Samui. If you wish to change the hotel, or if you wish to go out and start to have the outside dinner, you can go on the day number 8.
Okay.
Okay.
And by the way, just before you got a question there,
Yeah.
Abel, we'd like to thank Side Trip Life, who was providing us with some of the vision that we've been showing there while Kunchat is talking. You got a question, Abel?
Yes, so I have a question from Bipolar Punt. Regarding Samui, please tell us about having to report to the hotel COVID manager, ? When do we have to report to the COVID manager?
So each hotel sort of has got somebody designated to check on the travellers reporting in each night.
Right.
So there's probably a guidebook, Kunchat, for all the hotels about how they conduct the Samui Plus situation. So there's some handbook that's been handed out to hotels?
Yes, they do. They actually have the staff or the people from the health department to take care of the guests while they are living in that hotel. And there will be few tests along the way in 14 days that they are living. But in terms of the exactly date, I can't remember, but I remember there will be 3 times of the test.
A question from Jay, and you've got one there too, Abel. Jay says, is it true that I can scuba dive after 3 days in Samui? So is that right? After 3 days, I'd be able to do some scuba diving off the island of Samui? I wouldn't be able to travel to another island, but I could do it at Samui.
You can scuba dive to another island.
Well, I don't think the first 7 days you've got to stay on Samui. I think
Not what I know, okay?
Okay.
What I know exactly, you are required in Koh Samui in 7 days, right? And then the day number 8, you can continue to Koh Tao or Koh Phangan if you wish for.
I think if you're going to be doing any scuba diving, it's going to be just off the shore of Samui in those first 7 days, from day 3 to day 7.
Then exactly in front of your hotel, maybe.
Yes. Abel.
Yes, another question from one of our viewers, Lawrence. Can you book a regular flight to Bangkok and then transit to Koh Samui?
Well, that's the only way you'd actually be able to get to Samui at the moment. There aren't any direct flights into Samui for the start of the Samui Plus program. So yes, you're going to have to fly to Bangkok and then take a Bangkok Airways flight to Samui. I just checked online yesterday, and this Bangkok Airways is sort of famous for price gouging on the Bangkok to Samui route. But the prices were around about 3,000 to 4,000 baht to get to Samui at the moment, so they don't appear to be any higher than the generally high prices to get to Samui. So there's no big change there. Bangkok Airways going to be at the opening tomorrow. You've got a lot of people coming to that opening.
There will be about 50 people are joining the ceremony tomorrow, and most of them are from Bangkok and some also from the local organization in Koh Samui.
I have a question for you, Pichat. How are the hotels, restaffing their Thai staffs or their managers? I'm assuming it's similar to Phuket, right? Many people left the island to go back to their hometown. So how are you restaffing the people in preparation for the expected new rush of people coming in?
Exactly. This is the good question, Abel, because after COVID crisis, right? Yeah. I also have heard about many staff from the hotels also leaving the island and go back to their hometown because of they have to cut the cost of living. Yes, survive, exactly. Yeah. We are also expecting some to come back soon because there is the page called Samui HR Club that are also helping people to find the jobs and to help the company to also announce the jobs. Now they have more chance for people to come back soon, and for people who are already stay with us, we also still maintain the same benefits to make sure that they can live nicely on the island.
Interesting question here, Abel, and chat from Roy Goad, who says, you can go by land, then get the ferry. Is that still possible? Well, if you're a Thai person or an expat or a foreigner living in Thailand, you could go to Suratani and then you could catch the ferry from Don Sak. But for anybody who is an international traveller, you will have to fly through Bangkok Airport, or you'd have to fly to Phuket, do the Phuket Sandbox for 14 days, and then travel by land to Samui. It's about a 5-hour drive from Phuket to Don Sak, where you could then catch the ferry. But I believe you might have to do a new PCR test or present a fresh PCR test to get on the ferry. Do you know anything about land arrivals during Samui Plus, Chat?
Yeah, actually you can do that. For example, if you are coming from Phuket, right, it takes about 5 hours on the road and catch another 1.5 hours on the ferry. Upon your arrival, you have to do the registration through Samui Health Pass to tell you where you are from. And of course, if you are the tourist, you need to stay in Phuket for at least 14 days. Then you can continue your journey. So this is the same things that we know now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll take a short break and we'll say farewell to Kunchat at this stage. Kunchat, thank you very much for your time from Bliss Events Thailand. And you've also got a venue, Garden of Eden. Sounds like a lovely place to visit. So if anybody's on Samui...
It's like a White House.
Head to Garden of Eden. Kunchat, thank you very much for your time and good luck for tomorrow. And we'll speak to you in coming weeks. I hope it all goes well.
Yes, ขอบคุณนะคะ thanks
ค่ะ
ค่ะ
ขอบคุณค่ะ see you soon in person hopefully
Yes, see you
ค่ะ
Kunchat there from Bliss Events Thailand. You're watching Good Morning Thailand. I've got Abel here with me and we'll get to your questions and a survey which we did yesterday about vaccinations coming up next. And welcome back to the program. Apologies if you saw me mucking around with my earphones a bit earlier. In fact, I'll just take them out now. Now that we don't have anybody there.
Oh yeah, that's right. Take it off.
So anyway, it's what you do when you're on live TV. So thank you very much for joining us today on Good Morning Thailand. Got Abel here from Find Your Voice Asia. We'll get to some more questions, but we did a survey yesterday on our community section of our YouTube channel, and the question was generally about the vaccine rollout. We gave people 5 different questions, and can we bring that up, Jay? Here's the results. We said, I will wait patiently for the government's free vaccine. 6% of people said, yeah, okay. It resembles a 5-year-old's birthday party. After the party, 6% thought that of the vaccine rollout. I want to choose my vaccine and I'm happy to pay for it. It was 35% of respondents, which was the highest number. There's no way I'll be vaccinated with any of the COVID vaccines. We got 21%. That's a fifth of the people said they do not want to be vaccinated at all. And then the Thai government should take responsibility for the problems. 32%, which is a very high percentage. That was the second highest result. So thank you to the 2,500 people who voted yesterday on that and the results of the survey. We'll be doing some more surveys in coming days, and we do appreciate you getting involved in those surveys, clicking the button, and of course adding your comments. Here was one of the comments from a gentleman called Capral. Went to Chiang Mai on Monday, and the guy behind the counter said, yes, we can register your name, this is for the vaccines, and call you when the vaccine is in. I skeptically thought, great, possibly moving forward, until he literally gave me a scrap piece of paper to write my name and number, no computer entry or any old school book entry or anything. That's exactly the same situation I had about a month ago when I thought, well, I'll just hedge my bets and go and register at one of the hospitals. So I went into the hospital, Bangkok Hospital, Phuket, and no names mentioned,
No names, yeah, no names.
And I said, I want to register for the vaccine. And they said, could you give us your credit card? I said, no. I just want to register for the vaccine. Oh, okay.
This is the paid one. You're paying it for yourself or the free one?
This is to pay for a vaccine.
Oh, okay.
At that stage, there weren't any sort of formal things announced, but I thought, well, they're taking names. So they brought out this ream of paper with just sort of the back of old forms. They were just getting bits of paper left over from their printing, and just wrote my name. There was no lines. There was just name, phone number, no emails or anything. I thought, and they just put it back under the counter, and I thought, that list of papers never going to be seen again.
So when was this?
This was about a month ago when I went to register, just before I knew I was going to be able to get vaccinated.
Right.
I've since been vaccinated. I've got one shot of AstraZeneca and I've got my second shot in September. So I'm getting the free government rollout. But
yeah, that's what I thought.
I was just hedging my bets and thinking, well, maybe.
I didn't know you were also registering to, for the vaccine to be paid by yourself as well.
Well, I didn't know at that stage that I was going to get the free vaccine.
Okay.
Let's get to more of these questions. Oh, actually, we might have another quick break. We'll be back to take a whole lot of your questions. The next 10 minutes, we'll just do your questions and comments right after this.
Tim was sad. He had time on his hands but didn't know where to find the news. But then he remembered. The Tiger app. All your Thai news and tiger videos in one place. Just a single click takes you to a one-stop connection to all the news and information in Thailand. Now Tim is happy. Available free on Apple and Android, hologram not included.
And you're watching Good Morning Thailand from Studio 1, which is actually the only studio we have, at the Tiger.
I thought it was a secret location.
It is sort of a secret location. Everybody knows where it is. A question from Pundit King. Just recently, a Farang villa was robbed in Phuket of 18,000 baht. Is crime still low while so many are still without work there? Yeah, generally the crime situation in Thailand has never been sort of a big issue, never been a sort of a big headline. Right. So yeah, there is crime and there are people being robbed, but I wouldn't say that the situation is any worse at the moment than it has been. And you would think with a lot of people out of work, there'd be more incentive perhaps to go and do crime or robberies. But as a resident here on the island, I've not noticed a rise in crime at all.
I think I usually hear more about people, going to jail for drug use more than actually like burglary. So, yeah.
The things you do need to watch out for as a traveller, especially if you're new to the island, are the scams. In fact, if you do want to know a bit more about those, you can go to the Tiger, type in top 10 scams, and we try and just give you a bit of forewarning about things that may make your holiday less pleasant if you're not aware of them. Scams happen everywhere in the world, but the scams here on Phuket are sort of localised and have been going on for years and years and years, but something that you may want to be aware of before you get here.
Right.
Abel,
so
questions?
I have another question from PG Santa. What's the general sentiment around Phuket for how the Sandbox program is going? Well, I can, share with you some of the comments from some of my friends who came here from Bangkok. They are really enjoying their time here. I think that they, obviously they're staying at a 5-star hotel with a very, very low fees, so they're living a very luxurious life. But they did say that many places that they wanted to go to are closed, not opened. I think that's the only issue. So they were going to the malls and going to the beach, but the beach also had a few storms the last few days. So, I mean, overall it's very good, but there is a limitation to, what you can do here. Besides nature.
Blue sky. I can see blue sky out the window
beautiful
today.
Here, anyways.
So it's lovely. We did have a few days of rain, but that has gone. It is the wet season. You are going to get a bit of rain this time of the year. Interesting question from Paul. You just said you got the AstraZeneca vaccine. Please give us the details of how you did it. Of course, alluding to the fact that the vaccination rollout for expats and foreigners is not going terribly smoothly in other parts of Thailand. In Samui and Phuket, the government have worked hard to try and get as many people vaccinated as they can so they can open relatively safely for international travellers. Now, for other expats around the country, we understand that there are a lot of problems registering for the government vaccines. A lot of private hospitals have also announced that they are going to open registration for some of the imported vaccines. Now, as we've reported, there are limited numbers of registrations per day, and also that these vaccines have not yet arrived in the country. As far as we know, they may not even have been ordered, although there's been some arrangement between the manufacturers and the Thai government to bring these other vaccines, speaking particularly about Pfizer and Moderna. Now, some hospitals are asking for prepayment if you register for these vaccines, and that means that you are prepaying and paying for the vaccination before they've arrived in the country. That is a decision you'll have to make whether you want to take that chance. I'm sure they'll honour those commitments and when the vaccines arrive, but that won't be until later in the year. As far as the government rollout, the government have said they're going to vaccinate all foreigners. They've announced that, but the vaccine rollout for Thai people at the moment is still a problem. There are some people who are over the age of 60 who have been vaccinated. All we can recommend, and it's very hard for us to give you a definite question, a definite answer, is persist and be patient. And as soon as any news comes out about vaccine registrations for foreigners, we will announce it on the tiger.com, and we'll even announce it here as well. That's about as clear as mud, but that's about the best information I have.
Yeah, a lot of good information there, Tim. So I'm going to go into another question from Michael Crucy. I understand that sandboxers need to be alone in their hotel rooms at night. What would be our bedtime, and how would the hotel staff control that you don't sneak out?
Yeah, a lot of people have been perhaps overly fascinated in this particular question. I'm not sure what being back in...
You don't have to be locked into your hotel room.
Well, at night time you do.
Is there a curfew?
Well, I don't know if there's a curfew, but you're expected to stay at your hotel and they will acknowledge that you are staying at the hotel at night. I don't know if there is a bedtime, but there's no bars open at the moment, so I'm not really sure.
Where are you going to sneak out to, Michael?
Yeah, what are you going to be doing so late at night? But I don't know whether...
on the beach?
Are you required to be at the hotel for 1 hour a night or for 8 hours a night? I think this might be on a case-by-case basis, and you might just have a quick chat with your reception to see what your possibilities are. But yeah, people are fascinated about that particular question.
I don't have an answer to that. I haven't talked to anybody who had that kind of a question. All right, so many questions.
One from Jay, I might just address this.
Yes.
Can a Thai person pay for a Moderna shot in order to get it sooner than the government-issued vaccines? Yes, they can, but at the moment there are no Moderna vaccines available for Thais or foreigners in Thailand at the moment, but they will be able to register for those private hospital vaccines and prepay, if that's the deal, when they can. But yes, and they can even leave the country and get vaccinated, which was a bit of a phenomena a few weeks ago or a month ago. But I think the vaccine rollout is slowly catching up. All right, question from you.
Okay, Chris Kennedy, one of our members. Did the Samui representatives say that domestic tourists must stay on the island for 14 days? No, she said 7.
7 days.
Yes,
7 days, stay on the island. Then you can go to the other islands, Koh Phangan and Koh Tao. Then after 14 days, you can go to other parts of Thailand. Not sure if you really want to go to Bangkok at the moment, but you can travel to other parts of Thailand, including Phuket or Pattaya.
I have a friend who actually got COVID after he was in Bangkok. And he gave it to his wife, and luckily not his kids. So not a good idea to travel.
Yes, Bangkok's obviously it's sort of the peak of its lockdowns at the moment, so it's going to be an unlikely travel destination for a lot of people right at this time.
Okay.
Abel.
Another question from Frank C. Are domestic travelers flying from Sakonnakhon to Don Mueang and transferring to Suvarnabhumi to fly to Samui required to have a PCR test within 72 hours of arrival?
I think the answer is yes.
I have to adjust my brain there. Okay, like so many places. Flying from, Sakon to Dammuang and transferring to... Yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, the only place that you can get into Samui, besides if you're locally here, is through Bangkok.
Yeah, the airport obviously will be doing checking on domestic travellers. If you've arrived from other parts of Thailand, you'll be required to present a valid PCR test, I understand, done in the last 72 hours. But you probably better check with your airlines to see what they require. They may have different requirements that we don't know. But yes, generally.
Exactly. Always do your diligence and do your own research for sure. Another question, Tim? Reo, can you pay for AstraZeneca and skip the long queue?
That's an interesting one. I don't know if there are any private AstraZeneca vaccines available at the moment. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the answer at the moment is no.
I do not know either.
All right.
I got first dose in. Okay.
Good morning. I got the first dose of Sinovac in Bangkok, Pattaya Hospital, Payatai Hospital, sorry, and due for the second one on the 19th of July. Which one will I get, Sinovac or AstraZeneca?
I think you'll get Sinovac. Yeah.
You should be getting the second Sinovac vaccine. There are, however, some hospitals, I think it was Nonthaburi, we mentioned, Jay, that were talking about the AstraZeneca boost after your first shot of Sinovac. This mixing of cocktail vaccines seems to be a phenomenon. We're actually doing a more complete story about these mixing of vaccines. It's very popular in Canada, of all places. So I'm actually preparing a story about this. The mixing of vaccine cocktails, doesn't sound
I'm interested to know the result of that. I mean, I have some very intelligent people who are lawyers who said that, you know what, I'm going to get another shot of Pfizer or Moderna, even though he already had 2 shots of Sinovac, because he wanted to boost his immune system because of the, 50-some% for the Sinovac coverage?
Well, I mean, vaccine, the Sinovac and AstraZeneca are sort of old-fashioned vaccines compared to, say, mRNA vaccines of Pfizer and Moderna, which are very new and very exciting technology, which have, by the way, sort of led to a breakthrough vaccine for... What's the tropical malaria? Looks like they've come up with a malaria vaccine on the basis of this all this new technology with mRNA. So that's very exciting. A comment from where are we? I got a
nice comment.
Yeah.
From Larry. It's not a question though.
That's all right.
Oh, okay, it is a question. Larry, when do you guys sleep? You guys are always on. I feel like you live here with me. Good job. Love the shows.
Thank you very much. Yes, we do live here. Bruno's watching. It's 3:33 a.m. where he is. So I don't know where you are, Bruno. Sounds like you might be in Europe. That's sort of the time zones for Europe at the moment.
Oh.
If it's 3:33, you should be in bed.
Hey, I think Lee Mack answered your question. He is saying Tiger Bar is located on Soi Made or Made in Thailand, Pattaya.
Ah, we were right. It was Pattaya. Okay, thank you very much. Was Larry, was it? The person's name?
Lee Mack.
Lee Mack. Thank you very much, Lee.
One of the members.
And we're going to have to track down that Tiger Bar and find out where they got the name from.
I miss Bill. Amazing Lily said.
Okay.
I'll let him know.
Bill will be back probably as a guest from time to time. Of course, he's got his expertise in the hospitality industry for C9hotelworks.com. So we look forward to having Bill back from time to time. Tim's shirt is easily the most boring I've ever seen him wear. I think something is wrong. No, nothing is wrong. This was just the only clean shirt I had this morning. I have to admit that I didn't even get to iron it. That might be obvious.
What is people's obsessions with your shirts? I mean, there's so many comments about your shirts in the past, how many weeks, months that I've been doing the show. Always about your shirts.
Oh, Abel.
Maybe you need a stylist.
It's been going on for more than a year. Don't you worry. All right, with that, we might say thank you very much, unless you've got one more question, or one just came in from Rick Paul about Hua Hin.
Yes, okay. Rick Paul, Hua Hin discussing quarantine for people leaving Bangkok. need to go to embassy in Bangkok will be there for 2 days. Is this a quarantinable offence?
A very interesting situation at the moment with Bangkok and the red zones setting up to 88 checkpoints around the greater Bangkok area. And some people are saying, oh, I'm going through the checkpoints, and they're not checking anything. Other people are saying they're checking for passports, asking questions, show us some documents, why are you leaving? So that situation is quite fluid, and there may be some provinces which will say, if you're coming from a red zone, you're going to have to do quarantine. I believe Buriram is one of those provinces, for example. So getting out of Bangkok to other provinces at the moment is a little bit more difficult than it has been. As with everything, we'll try and bring you up to date with all the latest news at thetiger.com. Thank you for that.
Well, I wanted to just add the comment. I was planning on a trip to drive up to Chiang Mai with my family, but we decided that that's not a very smart move because things are changing all the time. You don't know which province is going to go from red zone to dark red zone. If you just pass through it, they might force you to quarantine because the rules change every day.
Yeah.
So we decided to not go anymore, even though we are a little bit disappointed. But hey, disappointment is much better than being sick and being stuck in the hospital for 2 weeks, right?
Well, with that, Abel, we thank everybody for their questions. We thank Kunchat from Samui for joining us. We thank Jason and Jay for pressing the buttons today. And we'll be back with another Good Morning Thailand tomorrow. We're talking about some of the legal aspects of what's happening with quarantine. I'm quite interested to know, what are your legal rights if you are found to be needing to go to quarantine? You've arrived as a traveller, you might have been sitting next to somebody who's tested positive. Do you have any rights, or are they just going to drag you off to quarantine? I think this is something a lot of people would like to know. We'll find out tomorrow on our next Good Morning Thailand.